despite its current associations. For many centuries, the word gymnastics was used to describe physical exercise of any kind. It wasn't until the 19th century that the sport we currently associate the word with started to take shape. In 1811, Friedrich Ludwig John started the German gymnastics movement in Berlin, leading to the invention of the parallel bars, rings, horizontal bars, pommel horse, and vault. These apparatus eventually became the main events in what we now call artistic gymnastics. Artistic gymnastics is the most popular sport in the wider world of gymnastics, but there are many other types of gymnastics. The earliest pioneer in Adventist gymnastics was William Napier. Born on a farm in Nebraska in 1921, Bill, as everybody called him, was raised Presbyterian before joining the Adventist Church in 1941. A year later, he was drafted as a medic in the Army Air Corps, serving in Europe until the end of World War II. Upon his return home in 1946, Bill attended Union College while also taking physical education classes at the University of Nebraska. After finishing his undergraduate studies, Napier briefly served as a teacher at Union College Academy before accepting a physical education job at La Sierra College. 1 year later, in 1951, he founded the first Adventist gymnastics program. Around the same time, exhibition gymnastics was starting to become popular around the country. In 1949, Florida State University started an exhibition gymnastics team that traveled around the country, performing shows instead of competing. Florida State's exhibition team was inspired by Springfield College in Massachusetts, who began their traveling exhibition program in the early 1900s under Leslie Judd, the pioneer of exhibition gymnastics. Springfield College's shows would include handstand acts, dance selections, comedic antics, marching drills, and pyramids. After a few years of incorporating artistic gymnastics, Adventist colleges and academies started to adapt their programs to the Springfield style of exhibition gymnastics.
When I first started, I would take equipment with me, but you have a beginning student. What types of skills can they do that I would get excited about watching? I mean, you look at the Olympics and a beginner does nothing. And so I quit traveling with all the equipment. We went to doing more balances. So to me, acrobatics is more exciting. It's like watching floor X with hand balancing and somersaulting and all kinds of stuff and tumbling all mixed in together. And that's more of a show. We did a little exhibition. We had a box and we did tumbling. We had a mini tramp. And that was the beginning of gymnastics in Adventist activity, I think, that was different from apparatus. Part of that came from back east from Springfield College.
In May 1905, Springfield College performed the first ever home show, a tradition that Adventist teams would eventually adopt as the final and most important show of each school year. Throughout the 1950s and early 60s, Adventist gymnastics was slowly developing on the West Coast, with La Sierra leading the charge, followed by programs at Pacific Union College, Loma Linda, and Walla Walla College. Academies were following the trend not just on the West Coast, but in Michigan, Texas, and the Southeast. Southern Missionary College began to realize their need for a gymnastics program. They realized that most of the academies in their region had gymnastics teams. They hired Cyril Dean from Pacific Union College to begin a gymnastics program at Southern. It would take Southern Missionary College almost 15 more years to establish a team. The idea of a full acrobatic performance team was still a dream for many colleges, but for Cyril Dean's PUC replacement, the dream was alive. Robert Kalua is arguably the most influential figure in Adventist gymnastics. He was the coach at Andrews University for nearly 40 years, revolutionizing how Adventist schools perform, and started the first ever Acrofest in 1991. But in 1957, his dream was shared only with his good friend and pairs partner, Gene Wilson. Kalua was coached by Cyril Dean at PUC and began working at his alma mater after graduation. His friend Gene often performed with him in a two-man balancing act in their spare time. After Gene graduated from PUC, he attended Loma Linda. They often talked about creating a co-ed acrobatic team of 40 to 50 students, and when Gene found a potential practice location on a hillside on the campus of Loma Linda, the two of them started shoveling out a practice area for their acrobatics team. While the two were creating this practice area, an event took place that would inspire the name of their future team. On October 4th, 1957, the Russians launched the first satellite into space, Sputnik 1. The whole world was looking up, and Kalua was inspired by the gravity-defying stunts of American and Russian scientists. Kalua and Wilson combined the word gymnastics and Sputnik to create their team's name, the Gymnics.
When I first began, you would line people up and you'd do your cartwheels and round-offs, and you might have somebody that can do a back tuck, and you watch that, but it gets old after a while. When Bob Kalua first came to Andrews and I watched his first show, my mind was exploding with ideas after watching a theme with the costuming and the music and everything. When you have a theme, you can change costumes, you can change music, and it gives you something that drives the flavor of what you're trying to present. And it looks more like a performance and not just an exhibition of this is what these kids can accomplish. I mean, I remember when I was at Andrews as a freshman, we did a little show, but it was not like with backdrops and everything like what Bob did. And Bob put the whole package together.
The Gymnics' first home show at Andrews was held in 1969, and the following summer, they traveled to Switzerland to perform for 20,000 Adventist students at the World Youth Congress. The following school year, 200 Andrews students tried out for the team. Those trying out were not only drawn to the team because of the increased skill level and showmanship, but because of Coach Kalua's Christ-centered approach to building a community within his team. The original intent of Adventist gymnastics programs were to teach physical fitness and to use shows as a recruitment strategy. These goals were still important to Kalua, but he was more concerned with using his team as an opportunity for ministry for both his athletes and his audience. In 1970, the Gymnics performed throughout the Midwest. One of their most memorable shows was for the world's largest walled prison in Jackson, Michigan. After the show, the team received a letter from one of the inmates. The letter read, "I saw what should be listed as the most greatest show on earth. If Christians are as happy as those young people are, then that is what I want." The inmate went on to credit the Gymnics performance as his inspiration to follow Christ. Meanwhile, Southern Missionary College decided to truly invest in their gymnastics club, and in 1976, they hired Phil Garver from Mount Vernon Academy to come be the first official coach for Southern's gymnastics team.
There was a club, and it had been in operation for a long time. And they had some good gymnasts, apparatus people, which includes tumbling. And then Bob Kalua was the guy that kind of got the world looking at this whole thing of gymnasts connecting with kids in a way that bands and choirs couldn't. You know, I came as a paid employee of Southern, half-time of my salary, to organize and make this gymnastics team become something very, very valuable. Because at that point in time, the gymnasts had kind of stolen the show up at Andrews, and we didn't want to lose kids up there.
Even though gymnastics and acrobatics was bigger than ever, the lack of standardized safety measures endangered the sport in the late 70s and early 80s.
In the late, middle 70s is when we had 3 terrible injuries in Adventist gymnastics. And then they were going to take everything away. Anything that could make you go in the air, no teeter boards, no. And so we went a long time without things.
There were no safety mats around the springs. And anybody could stand around the trampoline and you'd pull it out and it was, 4 feet off the ground. And there was nobody there saying, don't do somersaults, and so people would try stuff. And so for them not to get sued, they padlocked it up. But, years later, gymnastics came out with their safety procedures.
The United States Sports Acrobatics Federation is something that is a different sport that has different Olympic recognition than the USGF, but the USGF Safety Certification course is one of the best coaches safety certification courses in the country. We're trying to adopt the same thing with the United States Sports Acrobatics Federation.
And then they required that all coaches take the training and be certified, which made a big difference. And you could buy insurance that would cover you for whatever. And I started at La Sierra. I was teaching kids round-off back handsprings across the trampoline. And then we had overhead spotting rigs. And, you would learn how to safely use an overhead spotting rig, and you could teach all kinds of skills that would make it safe.
With the standardization of safety in the United States, acrobatic gymnastics competitions were growing in popularity. Competitive acrobatics, also known as sport acrobatics, had been popular in Europe for years, but was becoming organized in the United States in the 1970s and 80s.
Well, I had seen a mixed pair that had been at PUC that had gone to nationals the year before, and I thought, well, if they can go to nationals, I could surely do that. We went up to Sacramento. We had to do a regional competition to qualify to go to nationals. And so I qualified 3 of my group as beginner levels, or intermediate levels I think we had to be, to go that summer back to Hawaii to compete. And they had encouraged me to put in an application to host the national competitions. Well, private clubs had been doing it for a number of years in the U.S. After being there that summer and with kids competing, I thought, I can do this. I got the deal to do it. The next year, we hosted the 1988 National Championships at La Sierra. A year later, Andrews hosted it.
And I had heard that Coach Kalua, who was still at Andrews, was going to host the Sports Acrobatic Nationals. And so I said, what does it take? So I actually flew out to the Loma Linda where the Nationals was that year and saw what, I said, my kids can do this. So I went back, got a little team started. Of the 20 of us that went, 18 came back with medals. And so we thought we were pretty hot stuff. And people were asking, oh, what do you, because we still had the Sabbath issues and stuff that were there, and what are you going to do if you get really good and, you got to go to Sabbath? And I said, we're never going to be that good.
A few years later, Schwartz was coaching an elite men's four that would win the national championship and qualify for the World Games. The experience would go on to define the rest of his life.
And at Christmas time that year, one of the bases said, I'm done. I can't stay down here. I need to go back to where my life is and stuff. And so the other three guys came to me right before Christmas break, or during Christmas break. Hey, Coach, would you step in for this guy? Well, I was overweight, out of shape, hadn't done gymnastics in a long time. Coached it, but I hadn't done anything for quite a while. And thought about it. I said, I'll try. And I put myself on a very strict diet, and with exercise and everything else, and I lost 35 pounds in 6 weeks. We went to nationals, won nationals at the elite level, and were asked to go to world championships. I remember as we're getting ready to march in to the first opening ceremonies and stuff of the thing, and it's a big deal. And to me it was, even though not many people in the world do acrobatics, but as I'm walking in and we're waiting there, and there's a stadium of about probably 12, 13,000, 14,000 people, and it's full, and we're sitting there waiting to go in, and the Lord spoke to my mind. He said to me, he says, Rick, you've gone through so much to have this opportunity. You lost all this weight, you exercised, you learned how to tumble again, and all this kind of stuff that I had to have. You did all this for just this moment in time. Couldn't you give me time every day so you could walk into the courts of heaven and have the angels cheering for you to come as you come in? I was excelling gymnastically. I've always been an Adventist, but I had never really bought into it as much as I should have. And it came down to me is that how can you teach something that you don't have in your own life? I was going to church, doing all that kind of stuff, but it wasn't personal. But that's also when I really started seeking God in my life.
While schools like La Sierra and Spring Valley put a lot of time and effort into competition, most schools chose to continue to focus on exhibition gymnastics in an effort to avoid Sabbath conflicts and to continue to emphasize the educational benefits of the sport. But even though competition didn't catch on, another type of event was starting to emerge: the clinic.
When I first went to La Sierra, the first year they had what they called a tri-college meet. So I took the kids that I had, and we drove all the way up to Walla Walla the first year. I got there, it was Walla Walla PUC, my team from La Sierra, and a team from Fraser Valley Academy. I rotated, so the next year was, I believe, PUC, and then the year after that it was La Sierra. The first year we had it at La Sierra, I believe Phil Garver at that time had invited the mixed pair from Louisiana to come out here and do a workshop here at Southern.
The kids would come in from all the Southern Union academies and have a free weekend, and we bring in some world-class gymnasts, most of them, who did the floor and the balance beam and the uneven, because that's what we were into mostly. So it didn't take us long, though, for Billy Wolcott to realize over at Pisgah there's this acro sport stuff going on, and he went to the national championships and saw Igor Escanabi and some people got acquainted. So that's how everything, then he said, let's bring him here for a clinic.
I actually was at that clinic and with my team, and we sat in the front row and we were trying to just learn everything we could, and they brought in Igor Ashkenazi, who was the men's 4 champion, mixed pair champion. I mean, he was fantastic.
Clinics became a great way for the students to learn from professionals and to watch teams from other schools perform. While the tri-college meet had been a staple of West Coast gymnastics for years, the East Coast had competing clinics at all the different colleges. But by the early 90s, Coach Kalua had an idea.
I'm here with Robert Kalua, the head coach from Andrews University. Mr. Kalua has long been known for gymnastics. In fact, in the Seventh-day Adventist organization of gymnastics, he's been thought of as the father of gymnastics. There's obviously a lot of electricity here tonight, Coach. And several years ago, I guess 2 years ago, you were the first school to have the ACROFest. How's it gone? Is it what you expected?
Now it's spread all over. We're going to find spread all over. There are thousands of young people all across the country.
Father God, bless these athletes in a special way tonight as they perform for your glory. I pray that you'll keep them safe, help them to remember the things they've learned, and to put to practice the techniques that will make this a very efficient, professional-looking, and ongoing program. Guide and direct in everything that we do and say, that Jesus will be exalted. And again, thank you for this group of young people committed to the principles of Christian living. We ask it in Jesus' name. Amen.
Tell us a little bit about where gymnastics has come from, what you've seen over the years, and where it's at now.
Ted, when this thing all first started, it was so simple and it was very difficult in our systems to find instructions. Today, it is so widespread, almost every secondary, elementary, and colleges in our system across the country now have some form of a team. So many varieties today. When it was so simple, a little parallel bar and a little simple pyramid, today you see many varieties. Strong tumbling, platform tumbling, tempo where people are being tossed in the air. You see various types of balancing going on. You see cheerleader, the concept of cheerleaders that has come in. Strong force now coming into, and that's very exciting to see it all so widespread.
ACROFest became an annual affair, drawing elite clinicians from all over the world to teach students new ways to challenge themselves. It also provided students the rare opportunity to watch other schools perform, which led to schools inspiring each other with new moves and techniques. While the other universities don't have their history as well recorded as Andrews and Southern, over the 3 decades of ACROFest, they began to stand out. Union College, the alma mater of William Napier, became known for hand-to-hands and group choreography under Frank Martinez and other coaches. Washington Adventist University became a tossing powerhouse under Coach Ben Johnson, perfecting basket tossing more than any other team. Southwestern continues to build pyramids higher than anyone else, a lost art form in today's gymnastics. Burman University in Canada has a 50-year history in gymnastics, and while ACROFest is often too far for their team to attend, the Acronaires continue to perform across Canada. Antillean Adventist University in Puerto Rico has been able to attend the last several ACROFests, bringing other Puerto Rican schools with them and bringing the sport into the Caribbean. In 1984, Ted Evans became the 3rd coach of Southern's gymnastics team. Shortly after taking over the team, Evans asked fellow professor Steve Jakes to assist him. After years of Southern focusing on artistic gymnastics, Coach Evans took the team in a completely new direction. Not only did Evans and Jakes bring acrobatics to Southern's program, but they also introduced cheerleading elements to the team, including elevators and tossing. Their new style was faster, more energetic, and gravity-defying. The identity of the team was changing. With a new style came a new name, and Evans saw the potential of using his team to promote the health message to people across the country. A new idea formed. In addition to schools, what if they performed at sporting events, in front of thousands of sports fans in arenas and stadiums?
Ladies and gentlemen, in the Bud Light Spotlight tonight, the Charlotte Hornets proudly welcome the fabulous Gym Masters. brought to you by America's anti-drug acrobatic team. This unique group of athletes promote a drug-free life and go through their effort of hundreds of American young people to make commitments to be drug-free.
While Coach Kalua pioneered acrobatics and circus at Andrews, Evans pioneered tossing and elevators at Southern. Ever since their introduction, both elevators and tossing have become essential to Adventist gymnastics. In 1999, Bob Kalua retired from coaching the Gymnics.
This is all happening in the Adventist system. What are the educational values? Why is it here? Why is it in our system?
I think one of the exciting things for the education value, our bodies are designed for action. If one phase of the body is suffering, another will. As an example, if physically we're suffering, mentally it's going to be tough. So in this whole side, as far as body designed for action, through this action, mentally they're sharper. It's a great way to relieve stress in their lives through physical activity. Many of the students can return back to studying.
You know, Bob was one of the biggest ones that inspired me to, you know, you get together before, you have prayer, and you try to inspire kids to do more than just gymnastics. You go out and you may do a church program and whatever. And it gives kids the opportunity to witness if they want to.
I was raised at Andrews University, and the Gymnics had become the new thing. Got a chance to then go to Andrews and be on the Gymnics, and by my junior and senior year, I was the captain of the Gymnics. And my goal, I was a PE major, I wanted to just be out there and teach what I love doing, gymnastics. So when I had a chance to move to Southern, I remember coming over the mountains of Tennessee, getting ready to come into the Tennessee, and pulling off the side of the road and dedicating myself to the gym masters. And I just said, Lord, this is going to be my church. And I always did worship at the end of practice. And if you know me, I like to push practice and push, and all of a sudden you look up and it's 10 o'clock. We were practicing 8 to 10. And it was like, dang it, we got to have worship. And so kids would start to sneak out because they're trying to get worship back in the dorm, they're trying to get back to study, whatever. And I just didn't think we were really getting that spiritual emphasis that we should. And then I went through a year where it just seemed like every week, every day, we had an injury. You know, it wasn't even a bad, you know, somebody's running the laps in the gym and sprains an ankle or something, and they're out for a while. This person played intramurals and broke a thumb. This person, you know, and it was every night. And so I'm thinking, what the heck am I going to do? I mean, this is not good. And the idea that I got, and I strictly believe it was from God, you need to, one, have worship at the beginning of practice, not at the end. Show up that this is more important than practice, and tithe it. So we work out for 120 minutes, so 12 minutes for worship. We tried to give the practice to God every night.
tonight I would like to propose that the best way to be is in a place where you're expecting whatever God has planned for you. And because we can't tell the future, we have to expect the unexpected. He makes all things beautiful in His time. He has put eternity in their hearts, except no one knows all the work that God does from the beginning to the end.
Sorry, my man. He called us off.
We need a generation to step up and decide that they want to be a part of something like this, to take it to the future. And I would love to see this generation take on the challenge of, let's take this into the 2030s. Start a team, be a part of this community, like inspire, change. Bring this sport to a school that's never thought of having this sport, from the middle school too, not just the high schools, middle schools, elementary schools. This community, someday we can celebrate this in heaven and look back and be like, the impact of this sport you can't describe in words. You'll describe when you see the numbers that have been impacted by the sport.
Oh, how far beneath your glory does your kindness extend the power from where your feet rest on the sunrise to where you sweep the sinner's path. And oh, how fast would you come running if just to shadow me through the night? Trace my steps through all my fear and walk me out the other side. For who could dare ascend that mountain, that valleyed hill called Calvary? But for the one I call Good Shepherd, who like a lamb was slain for me. So I will praise you on the mountain, and I will praise you when the mountain's in my way. You're the summit where my feet are. So I will praise you in the valleys all the same. You know less God within the shadows, and no less faithful when the night leads me astray. 'Cause you're the heaven where my heart is, in the highlands and the heartache all the same. Wherever I stay, if ever I walk through the valley of death, I'll sing through the shadows my song of ascent. Wherever I walk through, wherever I am, you'll make me move mountains wherever I stand. And if ever I walk through the valley of death, I'll sing through the shadows my song of ascent.
You know, a lot of the teams would be anti-drugs, anti-smoking. Well, yes, we're against that, but we're more positive lifestyle changes in your life. Positive lifestyle, you have a goal, work toward it, and those types of things is kind of where I was ending with. And it's cool to see it continue. Different places, all the coaches have changed at some point in time, and it's good to see it still going.
Well, it's just an opportunity to get the whole body involved in fun and not worry about winning and losing. To me, that's, in order to have a winner, you have to have what? A loser. You know, and that's not how the God that I worship and love has planned things. He had to lose so we could win, but he paid the price that he's paying for eternity. That's a choice he made so that we could have eternal life.
I'm not a preacher. But I can inspire kids. And I think that's important.
If I could reach into the sky, pull down every star, know every answer why. If I could shout at the top of my lungs, melodies to a song that's never been sung. If I could dream in colors unseen, hold the key to every mystery, and trace the sky fading into the sea, it still wouldn't compare to the way you love me. Because your love, it has no limit. I know the light will never cease. Horizon never ending, infinite heart, boundless love over me. What would it take? Where would I start to measure the depth of such impassable heart? Like a wild frontier, no one's tamed yet. Deep as the universe above my head. It's larger than life, but easy to miss, while searching for boundaries that don't exist. So be who you are, and I will do the same, and try to receive what I can't explain. Because your love, it has no limit. I know the light will never cease. Horizon never ending, infinite heart, boundless love over me. What would it take? Where would I start to measure the depth of such impossible heart? Love, it has no limit. I know the light will never cease. Horizon never ending, infinite heart, boundless love.